Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin's to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to PSGL Season 34. Welcome to the second week of social races on PlayStation Lobby 2. We head to the Sakir International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's going to be an absolute cracker like we saw last week in Spain. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me this week in the commentary box, we got Mr. Evan Dalton. Evan, how are you doing? And welcome back to the commentary box.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. Nice to be back for another season. Big thanks for having me along, of course, Jess. And yeah, we're in for an absolute cracker this evening around the Sakir International Circuit. We've seen many great races here throughout the years in PSGL and in F1. Of course, we had the duel in the desert in 2014, and we had our own little duel, let's say, in the PCF1 Championship. So hopefully, some of the good racing can be transferred this evening.
Yeah, we already had 3 last week in PC and it was absolutely spectacular. First open in 2004, it was hosted a day race with Michael Schumacher winning that one. It's been hosted under 3 layouts. Obviously, we've got the normal layout that we know and love today, and of course, we've got the endurance layout. Ran in 2010. Don't know why I ran it because we absolutely hated it. And the Ultra layout as well, which was hosted in 2020. Hosted a very good race, and a race that was very heartbroken for me because George Russell missed out on his first win, but he got his first win eventually in 2022. But we've got to talk about a few drivers in this. Excuse me, my voice was cracking then. We've got to talk about a few drivers on this grid tonight because we've got quite a few. Jerry Van Bussel did really well last week as well. His first appearance in the F1 lobby, as it were, and he really delivered, and he had a great battle with Yossi, who was in Lobby 1 tonight, and they definitely delivered and showed in Spain. But can they do the same in Bahrain? That's what counts.
Yeah, of course, it's a completely different circuit here in Bahrain to Spain. Both tracks have hosted Formula One testing in recent years, but they are very different. There is a mix of high speed and slow speed corners here around Bahrain, but look, Jerry has shown in previous seasons of PSGL he is very diverse. He can transfer his pace from one circuit to another. But we've got a really good grid here this evening. We have some top drivers like Keane, who is looking to impress his new esports team, recently left Talent Factory. We have some drivers like Volakongan, who is a PSGL champion. We have Shazoo, Tom, Jensen, and then even some young up-and-comers as well. It should be a really good race around this one, and it is, of course, another chance for these guys to improve their pace and prove their worth, as they have evaluations and stuff to do now in the next couple of weeks for PSGL. So it is just even more practice, and it should benefit them all.
Yes, and that leads me slightly to what I was just going to be talking about as well. Yes, slight segue. So if you are interested in signing up for the PSGL as a driver, sign-ups are open. Make sure you check out our Discord, link in the description, and you'll find out more information there about what track is chosen as the time trial and evaluation races. They're run on Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays for PlayStation, no assist tiers, and Thursdays for PC, no assist tiers, and for PlayStation assist tiers. So if you have any of those platforms, sign up. Who knows, one of us two, if you're on PlayStation at least, could be commentating on your action every Monday night if you're running the no assist tiers. I don't know who will be commentating if you're running on Thursdays, but again, we'll have to wait and see. And commentator sign-ups will be open most likely tomorrow, so look out for that. But it's a very good league to sign up in as well. I've seen quite a few people sign up already, and they can't leave it too long, because sign-ups won't be open for very long.
Yeah, they close as quick as they open, and obviously Connor and stuff who organise the placements want to get them done as quick as possible. So just go do it as soon as this race finishes. Simple as that, and make sure you get your spot for season 34.
Yes, we are about to get underway with qualifying, which is run, it's slightly run in the sunset more than in the night on this game, which is quite interesting. I prefer it in the night, but there we go, because the night has much better graphics compared to obviously during the daytime. So let's go through the drivers that we have tonight. So, of course, we talked about Kian, who's in the Red Bull, and it gives you a big clue on what team he is in. Well, esports team, he's in Parnell Racing, which I think is a very good esports outfit. One of the up-and-coming teams, I think, on the F1 23 game. So, well-deserved for him as well. And we got Shazoo Tom in here as well. We got Rick. We got Ryder Dow. Last time I commentated on him, well, I think we both commentated on him at different times, was from a different league. Interesting to see him here from TF10, so not Talent Factory, but TF10. We got Just Brand, and thank you to James Head for helping us pronounce that one. We got Markados, who was here last week. We got PR Marcus, haven't commentated in before. We'll see what he could do. We got Damio as well. We got Tails. We got Bradders, who was in PSGL PSF2 last season, has done quite well. We got Ryan from OP. We got Jensen, of course, who's done very well in the last few races last season. Won, remember, in China and got a podium in Mexico. Volakongan, who has done well this season, picked up a race win in Hungary. We got Mao. I can't pronounce his last name to save his life, so I'm just going to pronounce him Mao. We got Devon, who was here last week as well. We got Marlon with us too. We got Stefano. Luckily, only one Stefano this week, so less confusion for all of us. And we got Jerry Van Bussel, last week's race winner. And we got Max as well, our champion from last season. Didn't do too well, but still scored some points last week. Looking to make a name of himself as he's about to cross the line to start his lap. And then we've got more Borat, who I like to call the pad goat. So that is your drivers then for today's race. Obviously, we talked about Jerry, but any other drivers that caught you out? 'Cause it's hard to tell due to it being a social race. Not many leagues have done Bahrain as a social race. They've either done Las Vegas, Qatar, or some other tracks. I think I know one league's doing Silverstone tonight, but not many people have done Bahrain. So for many people, it's going to be the first time on this game, but some people may have done it in career mode. But any drivers that caught your eye?
Well, they're all good drivers. It's a really even sort of grid. I'm very excited to see Ryder Dahl because, as you said, Jess, last time I commented on him was in a different league, and always took a liking to Ryder Dahl's driving style. It's sort of creative, sort of unconventional at the best of times. He likes a good overtake, and obviously I think everybody likes someone who takes that little bit of an extra risk. But OP Ryan is a man currently on his qualifying lap. His first sector, absolute silky smooth, heading through the S's for the first part of the lap. So he could certainly be a man to watch. And Marcus as well, P.O. Marcus. That is, of course, Parnell Racing. And look, if you're part of a top esports team, you've got to have some pace. So keep an eye on anyone really with three letters or numbers or a combination of some sort in front of their name. But the first lap's going here now. Keane, once again, showing his pace at the top of 127.8 is a very decent banker time.
Yep, it is so far. And bearing in mind in the middle sector, the sun can be very blinding. So that's going to be quite tricky as they head towards the final few corners. But that doesn't seem to have challenged Ryan so far in that AlphaTauri. He's got a point to prove, but he's going to come up to the line. He's not going to challenge Kian at the top, but still an impressive lap time from him. Puts himself into P number 3. And he's going to finish off and go into the pits very soon as well. What can Ryder Dahl do? He's going towards the middle part of the lap and going towards the final sector. We've got a Red Bull crossing the line. Max in P2 right now. I think it's Devon that's about to cross the line. No, I think Devon's going into the pit. So it will be Ryder Dahl up to the line for the first time on this game for him. And it's a 128.1. That is, I have to say, very impressive from Ryder Dahl. I was expecting, I think, a lot less from him, and he's performed so well. Margados in 4th, 128.121. We've got an Alpine who's about to cross the line. No, we haven't. We got Dammy who's about to finish his lap. Jerry Van Bussel, we'll see what he could do as he carries on with his lap, going towards the first sector now. Very technical, this first sector. You can't run too wide through here because you will get a track limit violation. 28.5 in the first sector. Obviously hard to compared to everybody else just yet, but as the session goes on, we will start to see who's made of the right stuff today. Well, Borak's on his out lap, and I think it is. I think it was Jerry Van Bussel that is furthest away from his lap. Jerry Van Bussel's got a lot of pressure because obviously they've got the evaluation race to do. They've got time trial. Everyone want to see what the top guys can do. The ones that are not in, pretty much the ones that are not in Connor's eye in shot for an F1 seat, they've got a point to prove to show that they can get an F1 seat next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And thankfully for Jerry, I think he's automatically pretty much guaranteed when winning the F2 championship in the style that he did. But they've all got a point to prove. As you can see, Jerry Van Bussel just navigating through the traffic of the final corner. He's going to come across the start-finish line now. That's going to be front row of the grid, 0.015 off pole. That's a very impressive time from the Alfa Romeo himself and Keane. Certainly know how each other's drive at this point. They'll be going toe-to-toe at the front for pole position. It seems there was a good lap in there from Bradders as well, or there's been a good lap so far in there from Bradders. I've been keeping an eye on him as he heads in towards the final corner. Bradders is someone who has kind of quickly risen to the top after good races at the end of the 2022 game, but this is of course a completely different game cycle and the game has changed as a whole, the handling model completely different, and he only goes to 13th now. But yeah, as you were saying, Jess, absolutely this is a time for maybe some of the drivers like Devon, like Marlon, like the Pad Goat as he's been self-acclaimed, Mubarak, to just prove what they can do and prove that they can keep up with the top guys, because it's so close on pace between anyone in sort of the top ranks of PSGL. They're going to want to make sure they're in the highest one.
Yeah, and they do get some good prizes as well, and a little bit of pride too, because obviously a lot of these guys have competed in the Challengers this season in the F1 esports world. A lot of them have probably in eye qualifying for next time as well. As more Borak, the Padgo, as we were just talking about him, slots himself into pole position with a 127.815. He was purple in the final sector, and he matches Kian, by the way, in the final sector to the 1000th, 21.606. That is impressive, I have to say, and I'm trying to see where he would gain all the time on his rival Kian. And, well, Keane was fast in the first sector. It was the middle sector where Mubarak gained a lot of the time. So great job on that as well. And I think most people are going out again on their outlaps as well. So we've got Mubarak fastest, Keane in second, Jane Van Bussel in fourth, Max in fourth, Ryan in fifth, and Marcos rounds up your top 6 for now. And they're just all so close, within 8 tenths of each other. The only one that's not too close yet is Yusbran in 17th spot. And then we've got Mal, Devon and Marlon yet to set a lap time. So we'll see what they can do towards the end of the session. And bearing in mind, this is a track in previous games where it's hard for tyre warm-up. Time warm-up is not really a factor on this game too much. As soon as you get into the pits and then go on to a fresh set of tyres, it warms up really quickly. It's how you manage your tyres throughout the race. I think it's going to be even more key because you use up so much more tyre life in a way per lap. So they've got to be careful about that as they head through the lap. But Yusbran is about to start his lap now as well. And there's quite a few moments in history that I've seen in Bahrain. Remember the 2014 battle between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg? That was quite entertaining. And obviously Charles Leclerc in the start of the 2022 new era of Formula One, Max Verstappen, they were battling together and we thought, oh, this is going to be great. Those cars following quite close together, and then Max Verstappen was dominating in 2023, but 2022 was a really great Bahrain race. Even the 2021 Bahrain race was great as well. So I wonder if they're going to go into the history books as well here as well. And of course, Lucas Blakely won the first race on PSGL PT F1 on Wednesday, and leads the championship going into Circuit of the Americas, I believe, on Wednesday. So who will write into the history books, we'll have to wait and see. But we've got Mal on the lap, Devon's on the lap now, 28.7. So he's not that far off the top guys, but I think he's a few tenths off them a little bit. So he needs to find time in the middle sector for him to get up near the top.
Yeah, Keane actually made a mistake on his second run. He was improving by 1/10.5, but did invalidate. Max 0.009 down in the first sector. He's just heading through the middle now, coming up towards that middle sector split, which is on the uphill crest through turn number 12. You can see it now. Max is improving by 0.141. That's not enough for pole position, as there is quite a large margin between third and fourth. Obviously, it's so close between the top 3. They're separated by under 0.5 of a second. In the earlier lobby, we saw qualifying. The top 10 were separated by about 4 tenths. We're on equal pegging with that one, as here comes TF Max towards the start-finish line. He's going to find 1/10 of a second in that lap, but it's not enough for a positional improvement. Jerry Van Bussel behind him is just getting his run underway. Marcos improving by 0.2 of a second. He's going to come up to the start-finish line now. That's going to put him in towards 4th position, and within 1/10 of a second of those at the top. Stefano improves to 6th, and there's an Alpine coming in behind. That's going to be Mal, who goes to 10th. So the track is ramping up, so are the drivers. We're getting some quicker times put in now towards the end of the session.
And track evolution, most people like to do their runs in the middle because sometimes they tend to bottle it towards the end. So Mubarak is definitely in a good position right now, but he's in and out of sync compared to everybody else. So I'm guessing he wants some clearer air and traffic and wants to put on the pressure against a lot of other people. But we got some people on laps. We got Bradders, who's coming up to the line in that Mercedes, a 1:28.658. And I believe he's about to start his run. Okay, so he's about to start his second run, as a few other people as well. And I think Marcos, it was just trying to do another run as well in 4th place. What can the Ferraris do? We've got Volakongan, who's going in into the pit lane, so he isn't going to be able to improve.
Yeah, we're improving here.
Damio up to the line in that Williams. In Talent Factory, they've produced, well, good drivers in the past. He's up into 4th deep now. And a 1:28.3, and that's, I think, nothing. But I think you'll need to find a little bit more time than that in order to improve anyway. But still more times yet to set a lap, and, well, still more drivers yet to set a lap, I should say. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to get pole position and who you think you will be rooting for come the race, as well, as a lot of drivers are very quickly going into the pit lane. But let's watch Mubarak's lap time. Mubarak's first sector, well, I think it's hard for me to tell at the moment. Hold on, let me get the other timing page. There we go. As Morbarak did not improve in the first sector. He was not green at all, 28.5, and he's invalidated as well on his second run, and it wouldn't have been faster than Kian anyway, or even his personal best. So I think he's going to dive it in to the pits, unfortunately. Marlon, who has not yet set a time, setting personal best in the first and second sector. 1/10 quicker, well, slower than Morbarak's time right now, but what could it be? He lost all that time in that final sector, 1:28.439. Only slots him into P18. That's not good for him so far, because some of the guys you won't expect to be up there is up there. The F2 drivers from last season, Jerry Bustle, third. Bradders in fifth. Definitely giving the usual F1 drivers a run for their money.
Yeah, the top three all making mistakes. Jerry Van Bussel was on an absolute flyer. He found 0.160 in the first sector alone. His middle sector wasn't as good. He lost a tenth of a second, and then heading through the final corner was still tracking for pole position. Heading through turn number 14, just had a little bit of a step out of the rear. It went over the curb, and he decided that he wasn't going to complete the lap and pulled into the pit lane. So a lot of pressure on him to deliver, because he know he can do it. Bradders is just on his cool-down lap, as we're going to be getting into the final runs now. Jensen, the first man out on the circuit. We still haven't seen really a proper time from Just Brand either, so keep an eye on the Alfa Romeo from the back of the grid. But yeah, it should be an exciting end to qualifying. 3 minutes and 30 to go, and the top three still have a lot more pace in their laps, all making mistakes on their second run. And of course, it's getting darker, the track is cooling, and the track is ramping up. The evolution will help these guys to get quicker times. Can we get into the 27.7s? I imagine we can if Mubarak, Keane and Jerry can deliver.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight due to the fact that there's a lot of DRS trade you can expect around Bahrain. And with qualifying, it makes it even more important to be out there in front. But Jensen is about to start his run. He's going to have the clearest air out of everybody, and he's going to be the one that sets the benchmark for the final runs. As he heads towards the start-finish straight, Fernando Alonso was saying in Bahrain that Aston Martin were looking very, very quick. And I'm sure Jensen will want to prove that tonight, even though we are on equal cars at the end of the day. But technically he is in Fernando Alonso's car as he heads towards turn number 2 as well. DRS wide open too. And don't forget, the DRS is way too powerful on this game, I have to say. I remember commentating on a race on Las Vegas, and if you get DRS on the straight, you almost guarantee that you're going to get past them. But luckily, it is a bit difficult than Las Vegas. Oh, Jensen! He was purple sector 1, but unfortunately he invalidated through turn 6 and 7. So that is his run over, unless he has enough fuel to go again, Evan.
Yeah, that's a disappointing error, because that was a very nice first sector from Jensen. This game will suit his driving style, because he struggled on F1 2022, I think it's fair to say. But he was really quick on the previous editions. This game is certainly suited to him, so keep an eye on him during the race. Keane starts his run, has a little bit of a save to make through turn 2, and that's going to lose him a bit of time. This sector 1 is probably not going to be breaking any lap records, as he's just heading through turn number 3. Sector split coming up now. He is improving, so he's not lost too much from that. He is 500s up, heading towards sector 2.
Yes, and actually, he's purple in the first sector overall, so he is getting the time. He definitely wants to beat Morbarak's time as well. Anyone else improving? We'll have to wait and see. We've got the Alpine of Mal, who set a green first sector, a 28.4, so 1/10 slower than Kian's fastest sector 1 time. So he is gaining up there as well. And there's a few drivers that are not improving at all. They're yellow instead of green, so not ideal. Purple middle sector for Kian, so this looks like it can be a quick lap. The time to beat is a 1:27.815, and he's looking so committed down this final corner, which it is 2 corners according to the game, but we treat it as 1 corner. Here comes Kian up to the line, and it is fastest by almost a tenth of a second compared to his rivals.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Huge first sector. 0.173 improving. That's a massive first sector from Jerry. We've not seen any improvements like that so far. That's a good lap from Keane, though. And he actually got a bit of a slipstream from Devon as well on the run to the line. So even though they're not proper teammates, the Red Bulls helping each other. Ryan goes to 4th. Jerry just heading through turn 11.
Yes, and I have to say, there's more people improving lap after lap. There's a lot of green sectors. We've got Ryder Downs improving. We've got Tails that is improving as well. But we'll watch Jerry Van Bussel about to finish his lap. The checker flag has dropped, so the first person to cross the line will be, I think, Marcus, who slots himself into P10, so he's in the top 10 for now. We've got one of the Ferraris who's coming into the pit lane. We've got a Haas car that's coming in. That might be Max, I believe. No, it's not Max, it's someone else. And Jerry comes up to the line. Is it going to be pole? Nope, it's not. It's P3. We've got the Aston Martin driver of Markados. Been so close to the championship last season, is looking to claim the title this season. Goes P2, he beats Borak's time. That is sensational stuff from him. And the
Mubarak and Val's final corner. He was on for pole as well. That's disappointing. That's both himself and Jerry who've made mistakes at the final corner. Mubarak spins it across the line. He's not going to be happy with that one. Keane is going to be clutching his lucky straws on that because he's kept pole probably by the smallest of margins.
And we saw the likes of Max invalidate as well. Marlon has invalidated. Yusbrand has invalidated. And Tom, well, he's on a run, but he's 7 seconds down. What about Mal? He's 22 seconds down. So we have our pole, and that is Kian. And that he was one of the first people to set a lap in the final stage of qualifying. And that is what the pressure does to you for some drivers. It helped Kian, but it did not help the others. And it is quite close between first and second. 0.045 seconds was the gap between Keane and Markados. We're going to be in for a sensational race. 3 different constructors in the top 3. 5 different constructors in the top 5. I know it doesn't mean anything compared to obviously what we're going to see in the race anyway. But that is sensational stuff from those guys. And I think Kian has obviously been very unlucky some moments of last season. Maybe him being in a new team with some good management as well. They've got some good staff there too. Could help him energise what he needs to get a little bit into the new game. But we'll look at your results. Kian is fastest. Markados in second. Borak third. We've got Jerry, Ryan, Bradders, Max, Mal, Stefano, Marcus, Volakongen. We've got Jensen, Tom, Ryder, Rick, Devon, Damio, Tails, Marlon, and then Yusbrand in the top 19, separated by just 7/10 of a second. You can't get even closer than that. But before we head to the main race action, we got a word from our title sponsor, GT Mega. We will see you in just under 30 seconds. Okay, welcome back to PSGL Season 34 and the second social race of the night around Bahrain. And we just saw Kian take a sensational pole lap at the Sakhir International Circuit in Bahrain. A track which is 5.4 kilometres long, 15 turns, 6 to the left, 9 to the right, 3 DRS zones, which will promote some overtaking between turn 3 and 4 and between turn 10 and 11, and at the start finish straight as well. The highest tyre compounds will be available to use today as well, and it's a track where it requires a lot of low downforce on the straights, but higher downforce in the corners. It's going to be quite hard to balance it on this game, but we know the drivers will be happy about that as well. As we saw in the first lobby, hards were the optimal tyre to use for the Grand Prix, but we have seen people on the medium tyres as well. We'll have a look at the tyres now as I get my tyre data up. There we go. And not many people going bold, which is interesting to see. Only Marlon has gone for the mediums. He's keen to make some places off the start, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and tyres are a really important thing in this game now, and fuel is not the best. You have to manage it a little bit more as well. But the tyre wear and degradation is a really weird one on this game, and the hard tyre obviously will have the lowest degradation, but the tyres are going to rapidly fall from about 0% tyre wear to 20%, and then from 20 to 63, actually, it'll sort of even out. But once these hard tyres reach 60 to 63%, they are going to fall off a cliff, and the pace will certainly drop. So what these guys are going to be aiming to do is get these hard tyres, I should say, to about lap 15, lap 16 in this race, and then chuck on a set of mediums and get the medium to the end of the race before it reaches that cliff. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see only one person go for the different strategy. We heard that Marlon has had a bit of an OSD glitch, I think he said, in the qualifying session, so hopefully it's all fixed now, and that may be why he's trying something different, because he knows he has good pace, he just couldn't utilise it.
Yeah, and speaking of OSDs, actually, in F1 World the other day, which I tried a few days ago, probably regretted it to an extent, there was one challenge where you had to race with no OSD. The only data that you had was from your engineer, and that was very, very difficult. So I can't imagine what Marlon must be going through, because the OSD, you can rely on like who's behind you, who's got penalties as well, what tyres your nearest rivals are on as well. You can see how much fuel you've got to. It's just hard to do without obviously your OSD in front of you too. So I think Marlon has got a tough battle on his hands, and let's hope that it's better for him come the race at all. Someone has binned it coming to the formation lap. Hopefully he doesn't do that in the race. He's trying to warm his tyres up as well, and bearing in mind different heat cycles on this game for different tyres, different temperatures required to have the optimal tyre pace before you start this race. So they've got to be different tyre temps compared to the hards and the mediums. So we'll watch that as the 5 red lights will come on very, very soon. Hopefully no one will get disqualified. Mal and Damien has just got disqualified, but nobody else, luckily, so that is good. But the 5 red lights are coming up on your screen. Kian on pole, Markados alongside, and we are underway for the second social race of the night. Kian's got a good start. Morborat's got a good start as well as they make their way towards turn number 1. It could be 3 wide almost as well, but look at Morborat. He's absolutely lightning. He's got that toe that he needed, and he's up into the lead. Markados getting a good run in second. Kian had the best getaway, but he didn't get a good run in towards turn number 1. He tries to fight back a little bit. 3 wide once more, heading towards turn 4. But unfortunately, King couldn't quite get him on Morborat, but he got second place once again, or would he, through turn number 4. No, he doesn't. Markados get second place back from him. We got a yellow flag, and that's Tom out of the race. And we got our first safe VSC. And Morborat, the pad goat. Well, the F123 game has turned out to be really much better for the pad users. And Morborat seems to think so, because he's leading the race so far.
Yeah, brilliant launch off the second row. He had the front 2 well before turn number 1. He just broke earlier, and that's why Markados got the run. And then heading through turn number 4 as well, he sort of had to lift mid-corner to keep the car stable, and that's why Markados got a run in towards turn number 4. But the virtual safety car out, that's for Tom. There was actually a little bit of an issue off the start with his McLaren teammate. Marlon got a great run. He was 4 wide with 2 Red Bulls and another car. His old race leader, drive-through, speeding under the virtual safety car, but just quickly about Marlon, he actually hit the back of an AlphaTauri and Marcus in towards turn number 1, but no damage for now. That could be a costly error from Mubarak at the front, though.
That is a shame. I think a lack of concentration. So this is a battle that we could see for the lead. Bradison and Jerry side by side into the final corner. We wouldn't see that every day, as I believe Morborak is going to be serving his drive-through straight away. So he gets that done and dusted, but he's going to fall away to the back of the field. Mac pushes Jerry Van Bussel to good measure in towards turn number 1, but no harm done for the Haas, but Markados retains the lead, or Willie, as Kian tries to go down the right-hand side in and towards turn number 3, heading towards turn 4. What can Bradis do for company? He's a sole Mercedes in the top 3 now, and this is where we saw Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen go side by side in 2021, but this time we're seeing a Red Bull and an Aston Martin. That was very tight for Markados, but he's doing a really good job to try and attack there. And I think Jerry has got a really good box seat. I think he's very angry. He wants to get past ASAP. He knows he's got the pace against these guys. But looking at position changes so far from the drivers, Tails has gained the most, up 6 places. Marlon's up 4, Devin up 5, he's had a good start. Ryder Dow up 4, Jensen up 3. Marlon's going to gain another position at the back as he's got past Mao up into 16th spot. I think Mao has got some damage, unfortunately, so that's why he's fallen off a little bit, as the timing tower is having a little bit of a mare right now. And Logan, who was our commentator for Lobby 1, saying that the first race was mad. Yes, it was, because I was watching the first half of it, and I'm expecting this race to be just as mad as this one as well, as we got a battle for the lead brewing as... what happened to Markados there? Because they dropped so much time compared to Kian.
Yeah, he had to catch the car. He almost went sideways through the final corner, and reportedly Mubarak had no delta, so it was another OSD issue that has cost another driver. Look at Brothers drawing around the outside of the Aston Martin. Apologies to Markados. That's a brilliant move. Jerry's capitalised off the mistake from Markados best. He's up to second position now, heading in towards turn number 4. They're all sort of line of start now for what's really been the first time in this race, and that's been a pretty exciting 3 first laps, but this race is certainly not over. Mubarak, is starting his fight back from the back. He's already gained half a second on Mal.
Yeah, I think quite a few people are gaining so much time already with Marlon on those mediums. He needed to get them places done ASAP, and he's definitely done that so far. Kian has broken free of Jerry Van Bussel, which means that Brad is going to have some DRS going through this back straight, which may not help him now, but it will help him in the future in the next couple of laps, especially towards the start-finish straight as well. And the DRS train is going to grow bigger and bigger. But to be fair, Mubarak is catching to Mao. So to be honest, that drive-through may not cost him that much. We could see some safety cars that could throw the spanner in the works. Safety car is on reduce. And bearing in mind, red flags are off until they have a fix, which, well, a patch. We don't know when the patch is going to be, but they have fixed it internally, and hopefully we'll be able to try it on this game. And if anyone tries it and it's successful in single player, who knows, maybe in the next social race when the patch is out, we could give that a go. As Jay Van Bussel, 3 attempts now, has just set the fastest lap of this race so far, and he's 4 attempts behind. Not quite enough to get past Kian, unfortunately, but I have to say, those hards are starting to get into the operating window for some of these drivers now.
Yeah, and they're all starting to think of the long run now. It's not as much of a, let's get the position as it was on the first couple of laps. They're all just starting to get into that phase. They want to get to the 15th or 16th lap of this race on these hards. So using up all of the good out of those tyres on lap 4 would be pretty disastrous, as that's Josbrand who's taking a tip round, it seems, through turn number 7.
Yep, so he lost it there, which is so easy to do. On F122, by the way, if you lose at turn 7, you hit a wall. So luckily on F123, the handling is a lot better, I have to say, compared to the last game. So you can catch it there, and that's what Josbrand has done in the background. Now Mubarak has caught up a few seconds as well. And I think the closest battle that we could see at the moment is Tails on the back of Jensen. No points being scored tonight, but this is all in good practice going into season 34. And just a quick reminder, sign-ups are open, so if you are interested, click the link in the description if you want to sign up for season 34, as Tails has got a really bad tank slapper there as well, which will allow Jed to pull away a little bit. But let's watch Tails with the DRS. He's using a bit of battery as well to try and get past. Jensen covers to the left, it looks like, and he shuts the door as well. Oh, someone trying to get on the inside. That is Marlon on the set of the medium tyres. I think that was calling Tails on the wears there. And Josbrand, unfortunately, has retired in the session. He's retired in the pit lane as, thank you, Logan, for the £10, much appreciated, as Damien tries to get past Tails for 13th. So Tails lost, I think, 2 places out of all of that. He was very, very unlucky as well. And James said, massive shout out to you, commentated with me last week, saying Bahrain looks incredible, graphics wise, colouring it so much better. I have to say, graphics in general, it looks a lot better on this game, especially Las Vegas and Singapore. The night race especially looked really good, as Tails almost got passed by Damien, but again, he did not get past. So I think a lot of people just taking a lot of risks here, but for most of them, it's not succeeding. But the closest battle we're seeing now is Ryderdale, how he chases down the two Ferrari boys.
Yeah, Ryderdale doing a good job here on the big stage, in quotation marks, if you'd like to say, but obviously it is a social race at the end of the day. Ryderdale running a steady 9th. He's pulling away from Devon, who was one of the front runners in the F3 Championship last season. There's an obvious reason why I know that one, but Ryderdale just pressuring Vola Kongen. He's trying to make some inroads on his fellow Ferrari-powered cars, but speaking of a Ferrari-powered car, here comes Max. He's overtaken Markados, and the slipstream once again is a huge advantage to the car behind another here on the main straight. I'm not sure if that'll be changed in the coming weeks, but certainly for now, these drivers are capitalising on the overpowered slipstream. And DRS Keane, though, will hold the lead in towards turn number 4. Jerry is certainly in management mode. He is just thinking about the long game here, because he knows if he can save his tyres a little bit better than Keane, maybe save a bit more fuel if we don't get any safety cars, he can attack in the final stages of this Grand Prix.
That is a good point. We have talked about tyre management earlier on in this race as well. If they do push too much throughout that hard stint, it's just going to become useless towards the end of it. So if Jerry knows that if he could close up the key and still manage those tyres, it'll be a win-win, and maybe he can overtake them just before the pit stops. Meanwhile, Stefano tries to get past Ryan, which he does, covers it off very nicely, as Ryan is disconnected from the session. So I wonder what happened there. So he is ghosted. So I think obviously Ryderdale and Volakonga will try and get past him soon, and disconnects are never good. So fingers crossed they can get back anyway, and hopefully no issues are caused there. And there was one question in the chat saying, does Jerry Van Bussel have front wing damage? Doesn't look like it.
No, I don't think so.
No, it doesn't look like it. So I think he's fine. It's just he's in tyre management mode, saving ERS as well. You don't want to be pushing too much on a lap, as Ryan's AI doing a great job there, trying to get past Devon, but we will ignore that for the time being. We'll go for your order then on lap 7 and 29. Kian leads for Jerry as Rick is out of the race as Jensen gets past, well, tries to defend from Ryan. And the ghosted Ryan as Tails gets past as well. I believe Rick has retired from the pit lane, so it must have been an incident that we didn't see earlier on that he got caught up in, which is a shame there as well. And you can start to see Marlon's tyres really starting to degrade as Damien gets past him as well.
Yeah, and there's a great move there. Oh, hold on. That was a huge save from Marcus. Still out of shape and just battling the car heading through 7. But there was a great move from Damiano up the inside and towards turn number 4. Executed it perfectly, which would indicate that maybe Marlon is starting to feel the effect of these medium tyres. Obviously, they wear really quickly. Then they sort of steady off and even off a little bit. And then, of course, the degradation kicks in. But great move from Damiano to get the job done. He's up to 12th now. And unfortunately, Ryan is falling down the field fairly quickly due to that disconnect. Hopefully he can get back in soon so we can see him kick on with this race. Brothers, though, keeping with Jerry Van Bustel and Kian. So he is going to maybe launch an attack. We've seen Brothers make very crucial decisions in terms of race strategy before, so he's going to play the smart card here in his approach to the battle with Keane and Jerry. But there's a move in the background as well. That's Devon, who's going to dispatch Ryderdale in towards turn number 1. You can just see the straight line speed on that Red Bull because of that DRS and slipstream.
Yeah, that DRS again showing what they're made of with the likes of Ryderdale heading towards turn number 3. And I think he's lost a bit of time there through turn 4. So I think Devon's gained a little bit on the two Ferrari cars as well. I think there will be a few people working together there as much as they can. But obviously they're not in the team of their choosing. It was first come first serve at the end of the day for the social races, but when the placements happen, they will get to pick their teammate in order obviously of where they've come in PSGL in the past as well. So if you've done well in your tier last season, then you're more than likely going to get a good car for season 34. as I think, we're just looking at the ERS as we do have a request for the telemetry.
Jensen's had a mistake.
James has had a mistake coming
Yeah,
through
it was through turn
12.
10. I saw him all wide on the exit of the circuit. Thought it was just elbows out, but he's lost 2.4 seconds. And now Damiano has made that look pretty easy into 11. He's running on less than 10% ERS or 10 or thereabouts, and now having to defend from Marlon. So Jensen not running the best of races. Obviously, we saw he made that mistake in qualifying, as here comes Bradders overtaking Jerry Van Bussel. Bradders has made that look really simple here, but I imagine Jerry is going to launch an attack back in towards turn number 1. Nope, he has to defend from Max. This is the slipstream fest that this track is promoting, and look at Jerry taking the inside line. Max almost hitting the back of that Alfa Romeo. He just has to be careful and yeah, just backs off, give himself a bit of breathing room here, and he's going to let Jerry and Bradders just maybe have a go at each other here in this race. Lap 9 out of 29, we're not even halfway through, so still plenty to think about here as Damiano, Marlon and Jensen free wide in towards turn number 4. Marlon goes up the inside of Damiano. He does the reverse of what Damiano did to him a couple laps ago. Marlon now into the points, but these guys have lost 1.1 seconds with this battle. They're going to have to just settle down and maybe get the hurry on here in this race.
Yep, they do, because the more these three keep squabbling, they're not going to be in that DRS train for any longer. With Marlon getting that crucial overtake that he needs, he could start to, well, try and close in. But it's going to be harder than he thinks, because very soon Marlon's going to be thinking about coming into the pit. And we have got roughly a little bit of an idea as to what the pit strategy is. It's around about, I would say, lap 14, the optimal pit window for a lot of these drivers, and this year the deltas being slightly closer to each other, and that means it provides a lot more closer racing. The tyres don't have much of an advantage unless you overdo the tyres as well. Mediums will go until lap 14, and then they'll go on to the hards until the end of the race. But then some people may stretch the hards until the softs, because the softs can last quite a bit on this game as well, as Damien gets past Marlon up into 10th spot. So if it was a PSGL race, he would be in the points. And apparently Cazillo pitted on lap 12 in the first social race we had this evening. So that probably gives you an idea. So lap 14, yeah, the game says lap 14, but lap 12, 13 is the window.
Lap 12 is early. That is really early. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised when it comes to Cazillo. That's the sort of thing he does on a daily basis. He always tries the undercut. Lap 12 is very early. We might see Marlon pit about then, because of course his mediums are probably not feeling the best at this point compared to those hards. Those hards will be in a much better operating window. I still think it'll be later for the mediums. I still think it's got to be about 14, 15, 16. Obviously these guys are really good at managing their tyres, so you'd expect them to do a bit of a better job maybe than some others. But just up the front, Keane has used 41% of his ERS. Bradders and Jerry, Bradders 87, Jerry 71. So you can see just how much Keane has to actually push to keep the lead of this race. That could be something to do with the slipstream and the DRS. It could just be pace for Bradders and Jerry. But Keane is having to work hard here. He does not have this all his own way. It's like a high-speed game of chess here as we head into the pit window.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get the moves past ASAP. And look at this, Max trying to fight back from Jerry once again. But will this be more successful than the previous laps? And in towards turn number 1. And Jerry tried to defend from the outside, which he tries to do with ease. We've got Max trying to attack from the inside, coming towards turn number 3. I think he's got the DRS as well, which he does. Bit banging wheels from the turbo as well. They try and leave as much space as they can. And Jerry Van Bussel is putting all the car in all the right places and stays in the podium positions for now. This is a much better race than what we saw last week for Max. Much more control, definitely showing the pace in Bahrain and definitely matching it compared to like Keane and Brad. This is what we like to see from the defending champion, because he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. A lot of the F1 champions in the past have gone to PC to carry on with their PSGL careers, whereas Max, he has stayed on the PS side, trying to replicate what Blizzard has done before, won multiple times in PSGL titles, Louis Welsh as well, and quite a few other drivers, to name a few, Wilson Hughes as well, winning quite a few titles in PSGL too. So Max definitely want to be one of those people. And it is. James is right, actually. It's the F2 champion from last season, Jerry, versus the F1 champion of Max. And they were fighting last week in Spain, too. So it shows a similar piece. Brad has gone wide. I think this could be 3 wide heading towards turn number 1. And on who's going to have the upper edge, we'll have to wait and see.
Max just sits back. That's very responsible. Here was look at Bradders. He's gone for the race lead. Made the mistake through the final corner, but still dives it up the inside of the Red Bull. This is going to be argy-bargy on the exit here. Heading through turn number 2 and 3. Bradders is put over the curb. Has to bounce over it. The underside of the car won't like that one, but he's heading in towards turn number 4. Not quite alongside here, so a dive he would not be warranted a car's width on the entrance to the corner. He doesn't go for the dive, and they'll all go line astern in towards turn 6 and turn 7. Bradders, I think, had to just go for that one purely to keep second position. Defence or attack is the best form of defence, some say, and Jerry would have snatched that spot off him quicker than Bradders would have liked if Bradders didn't go for that one, so he just put it up the inside of Keane. Jerry and Max just backed off, just gave him that bit of room, because of course if something went wrong with those top 2, Jerry and Max would sneak their way through. And yeah, as you were saying, PS F1 champion versus PS F2 champion, but look, Jerry certainly has the pace to challenge at the front of PSGL F1, that is for sure. He was phenomenal in his last season, and it seems like he's only got that little bit better battling here with Bradders and Keane. Keane is pushing though, he's down now to 32% ERS. He wants the advantage here in the pit phases. I wouldn't be surprised if Keane tries to undercut to give himself a little bit more of an advantage. The undercut's powerful here on the F122 game as Bradders runs that little bit wide again, and there was almost a tank slapper for Markados in the background. He's starting to fall off, suffering a bit with the degradation. Here we go into turn 1 again.
Here he comes, Bradders, going for the second time for the lead of this race, but this time it was more successful. But Keane has got Jerry to answer to as well, and Bradders must be absolutely loving this, that Keane is fighting with Jerry too, and Jerry overtakes Keane up into second place. That is huge for the F2 champion. That's going to be very hard for Max to get past Keane. I wonder if Keane is struggling on the tyres so far, and I have to say all 9 drivers in this DRS train have a brilliant shot in winning this race, because if any of them make a mistake, that could allow certain drivers to sneak their way through. And I've seen the undercut.
Oh, Bradders again wide.
Oh yeah, Brad has gone very wide as well. This could allow Jerry to gain some DRS as well with 38% battery. And I think the undercut is more powerful on this game, because obviously with the tyre warm-up, pretty much operating at race pace straight away, unlike in the previous game, the overcut has been more powerful. That's probably why we will see some early pitters like we saw with Cazidlo in the first lobby, but no one has opted to go in at the end of lap 12, which I think is to be expected at the end of the day. So maybe next lap people will come in, or maybe this lap. I think some people will brave it and go at this lap. If I was like Markados or Stefano, like in the middle of the pack, I would potentially go in then. Is someone going to read my mind? I thought Markados was going to come in, but it was someone else. It was Stefano that's read my mind. He's come in and he's going to go on to, I believe, it's out the medium tyres. Yes, he does.
Here goes Keane up the inside in towards turn number 1. He didn't look like he was going to go for it, but he's fancied an overtake on Jerry Van Bussel once again. Here comes Keane heading in towards turn number 4, and now he's just going to have to fall behind. That's not the worst for Keane. He could do with just saving his car, saving his tyre, saving a bit of battery. He's been leading at the front for the majority of this race as Jensen retires from the Grand Prix. But yeah, Keane has been leading at the front for the majority of this race. He needs to play this a little bit like cycling, where the man who just leads at the front just sort of backs down and just saves himself, or in this case the car, a little bit. But Bradders wide once again through the hairpin. Bradders is struggling with his tyres here. He's going to be in the pits before the other two, if not on the same lap, because Bradders is starting to make a few mistakes. He doesn't want to make one. That is costly, but he still has the pace at the front, just maybe not the tyres to lead. But he's doing a good job of it so far, I have to say. Is Jensen retiring from the race? I think that's just because he was out of the DRS train. As Stefano on the fresh mediums. Let's take a look at how powerful the undercut is then. And obviously the other outplayed racing drivers are going to be seeing that and going to be trying that strategy. Maybe someone like Mubarak might be trying something different. Obviously the man who led from the front but got that drive through on the opening lap under the virtual safety car.
I think he probably could have won that race without that VSC potentially, but there's still a long way to go, pretty much halfway through. More people are coming in. We've got Max and Kian that is in the pits. Volakongan is in as well. Pretty much a lot of the mid-pack is in, but we've got a battle for the lead as Jay Van Bussel takes the lead from Bradders, and it just goes to show, if you are managing as hard like Jay Van Bussel has done, then it's definitely paying off. He hasn't been pushing for very long. He's only been pushing for the last couple of laps before the pit stops, and that is very, very smart strategy from him. That is what you need to do, and that's what's helped Jerry in the long run. And now we get to see how powerful the undercut really is, and Stefano is showing that he is ahead of Kian, so that may worry the likes of Jerry and Bradders. They've got to pit soon. And I really have to say, this may, I think, make this race even more interesting as well. If you haven't pitted, you're going to be worried. You're probably going to hope for a safety car to come out now, or that will probably bring you back into this race. But Jerry is definitely trying to push now to make sure he stays ahead. But that is a massive undercut that Stefano's put on Kian to be 1.8 seconds. And he was in the middle of the pack as well. So, yeah. You were right in saying undercuts were powerful in this game, not just for tyre warm-up, but just for the speed in general.
And that's what Jerry and Bradders are trying to do here. They're trying to just bolt away at the front and get themselves a little bit of a margin, because that undercut was extremely powerful from Stefano, and Jerry and Bradders stay out. So does Marketos. They're committing for the longer run on the hards and then a shorter, quick burst on the mediums. Damiano really wide, as there goes Bradders to the lead of this race. I think these two could be working together. They're certainly... They are intelligent drivers. They're certainly not going to back down from this challenge, so they're probably trying to work together a little bit here, just tow each other on the straights. But Kian, 2.1 seconds behind Stefano. That's not good here, as you can see Max behind as well. Stefano's put himself in a real shout of this one. He's just got to manage those mediums to the end of this race, because if he gets over 60% on the tyres, they will fall off a cliff and he will fall down the order quickly. But Stefano has good pace. Stefano is not a slow driver. He's going to give it his all here, and he is the leader on the mediums.
And Stefano's best result this season, well, last season, was 8 points in Singapore. And the lowest he's finished, well, in the points was 6 points in the likes of Saudi. And I think it was Baku as well. He's never had a podium, he's never had pole, and he's never had a race victory. Maybe this could be the game for Stefano to really shine in terms of strategy calls. Having better tyre management is key on this game. Having the undercut is key on this game, as Stefano, with the fresher rubber, gets past. And I have to say, the skill gap between a lot of these drivers on this game is not very much as well. And we're seeing it with the F2 and the F1 champion. You don't necessarily... They're carrying on, and they're staying out.
That's a peculiar decision. That's a really peculiar decision.
Devon is past Marketos, as Marketos has been doing the smart thing and coming into the pits. Damien stays out. Tails is going to come in. Yes, he is. Marketos is in the pits.
Marketos had a bit of a brown seat moment, as some would say, on the in-lap, so he's just getting off those tyres. But are Bradders and Jerry going to try go along here for a set of softs? Because this is peculiar that they've stayed out for so long, because as you can see, Stefano and Kian are starting to cut through the hard runners. So they've got to pit sooner rather than later. They're not going to give themselves enough time to come back into this Grand Prix, because obviously they're going to be well behind Stefano and Kian at this point, but they've got to give themselves enough time to utilise the better medium tyre. If they don't pit this lap, then they may as well just keep carrying on here. But yeah, it's peculiar strategy, but they obviously have something up their sleeves.
And to be fair, it's not much of a tyre advantage. 4 tenths is the gap between softs and medium, so I don't understand why, but surely they are probably planning other things.
They're going to try for just to have a huge tyre advantage at the end. That's why it's either pit this lap or go long. And this is sort of the last lap, really, for them to pit if they want to stay on a similar strategy to Keane or Stefano. Otherwise, they're committing to the long game. So let's see here. Do they come into the pit lane? Both in. So that's what they're going for. They're going for the tyre advantage at the end of the race.
And according to our little strategy as well, they were going on from the hards for 17 laps and then going on to a set of softs, which lasts 12 to 14 laps. No, mediums.
Yeah, no, mediums is the right choice. Softs wouldn't make the end from here.
Yeah,
As
Softs,
Max
yeah,
sets the fastest lap of the race. Here comes Keane. Here he goes past Stefano. Keane is going to be back into the lead of this race. Once Damiano pits, there goes Max up the inside as well, and that's a good move. Maybe Stefano just doesn't quite have the pace to keep up with these front runners. He's giving it a good go, though, and he's going to try fight it back in towards turn number 4. Here comes the Ferrari-man. No, he's not going to get there, and he will just have to sit behind, but he's got a healthy enough margin to Volakongan, and then they have a huge gap behind to Markados. So this is still really good positioning from Stefano. Brothers and Jerry come out 8th and 9th behind Markados. They just don't want to trip up Markados now and just get some clear track in front. That would be really good for them, and that would make this strategy look a lot smarter than maybe it does on paper.
Yeah, I was just looking at, there was a glitch where Stefano was on the pit limiter for some weird reason on the steering wheel, but he definitely wasn't because he was going at speed, but that was a weird glitch than what I've seen before as well. So Keane is your net race leader, Max on net P2, Stefano still third, but he's still got Volakonga behind him, and that overcut that Brothers and Jerry have had on the rivals has massively hindered them. They're down in 8th and 9th place, and they were battling for the lead.
But if they can just dispatch Markados and Mubarak really quickly, they will have a huge tyre advantage toward the end of this race. And there, Mubarak, he's played the responsible sportsmanship game there, I suppose you can say. He knows he's not really in this race. There's no point holding everyone else up. It's a social race at the end of the day.
He's got marbles on his tyres.
He's not going to score points whether he is in the top 10 or not. And here we go. Here comes Jerry and Brothers trying to get past Markados. They've both done it absolutely perfect. They can definitely still win this race from this point.
Definitely. And I have to say, these guys have definitely proved me wrong. They are gaining masses of time. They're only 4.5 seconds behind Volakongan. So yeah, you're right. They could still win this one. Those two, I have to say, as well as Markados behind, they've got to work together to try and close in. As soon as they close in on this run, they can't trip over each other, they can't fight, and as soon as they close in, that is when they can fight. As Mubarak, unfortunately, decided to call it quits and retire. Pretty much all the retirements have been from the pit lane, which is a bit of a shame. So we've had no on-track retirements, which is great to see. I think a lot cleaner race compared to last week. Turn 1 was absolute chaos, I remember, as well. Another Evan in the chat saying, watch the gap now, Brad or Jay will win this race, watch. That is a prediction from them as well. Luis
the other Evan is an absolute genius when it comes to strategy. It's the only way I'm going to put it, so I definitely go with his words.
His name is Evan as well.
No, I don't even mean that just by the name, but Evan is very good when it comes to tyre strategy throughout different races, so I would definitely keep an eye on Brothers and Jerry for those watching along, and obviously this Evan's quite good as well.
And could we have him in the text in the chat more often, because that would be really great. As these guys
Jerry.
can't topple over each other. They're going to lose so much time. But
no, that's okay. That was a clean enough pass. Jerry's just going to get back.
Yeah.
Their problem now is Markados. If Markados starts fighting them, that's not what they want. But Jerry and Brothers, they'll see the benefits that they're getting so far in this race. They're clawing in, and I honestly think Keane and Max are starting to work together as well, because it's almost like there's two races going on here. It is how quick can Jerry and Brothers catch up, how quick can Keane and Max pull away, and then the barriers, I suppose, to this is probably Stefano and Volakongan, who have been just that couple of tenths off on these laps, but still on a good strategy nevertheless.
yeah, and Keane and Max, don't forget, they used to be teammates. They were used to be in Talent Factory, but now Keane has moved over to Parnell and Max in Talent Factory, but they're still really good mates, so surely they're going to do all they can to keep everyone else behind. And don't forget, we've got the two Ferrari drivers as well that have had such phenomenal pace in this race, and we start to see the gap closing down for Jerry. 3.1 seconds now as well, and I think Brothers has probably done the right thing to let Jerry through and try and close in as well. And we'll have to wait and see as we start in lap 21. Max in Parnell as well. That's news to me.
Left.
That's news
They,
to
they
me.
both left the same day and joined Parnell the same day, I'm going to assume. Here comes Brothers and
Wow.
Jerry, though. They're just slingshotting off each other, it seems, as Jerry's has the fastest lap of the race. Now, Brothers' turn to lead for a lap, and I imagine Jerry will lead then once we go on towards lap 22. Here comes Devon and Marlon, though. These two will be scrapping, and unfortunately for Marlon, he's on older, hard tyres, meaning the deficit is just going to be too great to Devon, and he's not going to be able to fight this one back, as Blackbox saying Max doesn't have the right to use our name, so the TF guys not too happy with Max leading. The problem here is, if Brothers and Jerry do catch up, is Keane only has 6% ERS and will have worse tyres, so it's going to be elbows out if they do catch up. But what Keane will be thankful for is he has 3 cars behind him to act as blockers, I suppose, to Brothers and Jerry. But 2.7 seconds is the gap. Now the tyre advantage for Brothers and Jerry is still working well in their favour. And this is going to be an interesting finish to the end of this race. Definitely stick around, folks.
Yep, stick around to the end, and also make sure you check out our sponsor as well, GT Omega, where you can get 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. Link is in the description, or you can use the command in chat, !GT Omega, who are partnering for a 3rd season in a row, I believe. Actually, no, it's for a bit longer than that. Way longer than that, but make sure you do check it out. I did put the command in chat, so much appreciated. And we're both sitting on 1 chairs from GT Omega right now, so there we go. We don't have our cameras on though, as Jerry gets past Brothers once again. Gap slowly coming down at 2.5 seconds, and I would like you to tell us in the chat. There's about 7 drivers that could theoretically win this race. Devon as well, if he has a tyre advantage. Who do you think out of the 7 or 8 drivers that we have is going to win this race? Is it going to be Keane? Can he hold on? Can Max get the overtake he needs? Can the Ferraris pull off the tyre advantage they might need? Or will Jay Van Bussel and Brothers work together to close in and win this one also? Evan says Jerry. And he also says this race will be up to how hard Volokongan fights. That is true. We know how Volokongan likes to defend. He defends very well. Mike saying Jerry will get the win. James saying Jerry or Brothers. A lot of Jerry's predictions in the chat. And I think that's what I'm going to go for as well. But it's going to be cutting it very, very tight as well. Stay until the... I swear, most races I've commentated on in the last few days, even if it's on different sims, pretty much the one on Saturday, the one on Sunday, and today could potentially be fights for the win, and that's always something that's lacking in Formula 1 recently. If you take the Max Verstappen out of the equation, the fights in the midfield and from like the podium places and stuff is absolutely fantastic.
There goes Volokongan overtaking Stefano. Stefano is the one who's going to fall back a little bit here. He's got not much ERS, just trying to make the undercut work, and here we go. Is this Brothers and Jerry starting to fight among themselves? They can see the cars in front. They know they're going to get there at some point. Is this now where they start battling? Jerry has a lot less ERS than Brothers, and this is going to be a real interesting fight once they catch up. Volokongan, I don't think will fight them too hard. Volokongan is usually fairly steady. He has his head well screwed on. Stefano, I think, will be all elbows out, trying to get a good position in this race, because Stefano, who's done very well in PSGL, he wants to confirm an F1 seat. Volokongan obviously won an F2 championship, only winning a single race, so he knows how important it is just to run steady races and get steady results. But this is a social race, so they're all going to be fighting. One man who's got to be loving this, by the way, is Markados, because probably didn't even intend to be in this strategy with Brothers and Jerry. He's on a lap older tyres, but he's just been going with them. He's just been using their DRS and slipstream throughout the laps, and he's caught up now as well and has a chance for this win. Further down the grid, we haven't really been talking about it, but Devon running a steady P8. He started last on the grid, so real good performance from Devon in the Red Bull. PSGL veteran at this point. He is running an excellent race, but as they head down towards turn number 1, just while I can say it, because I love saying this one fact, turn number 1 that they're heading to, the only corner that's named on this circuit, and it's named after Mr. Michael Schumacher. Here comes Jerry Van Bussel and Marcados here. Oh, Jerry hits Brothers in towards turn number 1. Jerry hits the side of the Mercedes. Marcados tries to capitalise as they head through turn number 1. That's lost them a bit of time. She'll be okay, though. Doesn't seem to be any damage for any of them.
Wow, that was very, very tight indeed. That's allowed Marcados to get the pair of them, and I did say that maybe Marcados could fight into the equation as well, and but it is not over. It is not over. We're on lap 24 of 29. Ryderdale gets past Marlon, but Ryderdale, don't forget, has got that penalty, and so is Hale, so those will get added until the end of the race. And just because these guys kept squabbling, they're out of this DRS train now, between the likes of Stefano, Volakonga. So I think the top 4 will breathe easy here in these final couple of laps. But these guys cannot afford to become complacent. This is at the point of the race where their tyres will start to degrade. And the ones that have been on for a bit longer may start to struggle. So it's not over yet for the likes of Marcados, Brothers and Jerry. And even Devon is still in this as well. And Evan says they'll find a way. Of course they'll find a way at some point. I think Brad is trying to get past Marcados on the back straight, but I think he would rather wait for DRS, which he's going to do so at the moment. No one else in at the front, agonisingly close to make a move right now, and I don't think Brothers could. Oh, maybe, yes he is. Brothers to the inside, up the Schumacher corner, and Marcados goes for the switchback. And he's got Jerry trying to fight in the company as well. And hopefully there's no contact from the drivers as well. Again, very, very close. Banging wheels once more through turn number 4. They're both running out of VRS as well, coming through. And they don't want to run too wide, otherwise they get a penalty. Oh, Jerry. That was very, very close. But I think Jerry just about gets Marcados. But, what
lets him
happened
back
there?
through. Lets him back through. I think he might have shoved Marcados a little bit too wide, so he lets him back through, or he wants the DRS, either or. But the problem here is Marcados is sort of corking the bottle for Brothers and Jerry's ideas here, because they don't want to be fighting at this stage in the race. They want to be fighting the top 4. That's their goal. And now, because Brothers and Jerry had to deal with Marcados, there's no longer that ERS advantage. Volakongan has 48% ERS. Stefano still running low. Max, 98% in second position. So when Brothers and Jerry do catch up to Max, they're going to find it difficult to overtake, because obviously the gap in performance on these two different tyre brackets, I suppose you'd like to say, the 10 and 11 lap versus the 7-8, is getting smaller. So they've got to think here and try to make this work, and Jerry is not going to be wanting to trip over Marcados, because now he's on 0% battery and he's not catching up as much. Brothers, though, has got a bit of a gap on Marcados, and Brothers is now going to look to attack Stefano heading in towards turn number 4. A bit too far back now, but he's not quite in DRS, as Marcus picks up one of only 3 track limit penalties so far in this Grand Prix. That's impressive in its own, because of course we're still at the start of a game cycle. This is building up to a crescendo here. This is going to be an interesting end to this Grand Prix.
Yes, and make sure that you watch every single second of it, because trust me, it's going to be epic. And Marcados, as you were saying about penalties, yeah, you spoke too soon, Evan. We said we had less penalties, and boom, Marcados gets one. So Marcados' chance for a win is over, unless the drivers in front also get a penalty as well. So maybe the chance for Marcados is to possibly try and increase the gap to the likes of Jerry and Devon behind potentially. But
Max now running on maximum ERS. He's on 100 going down the straight. So he is definitely gonna go for this win. I think Brothers may have left it too late here. He's not catching as much to Stefano now, and he doesn't have that battery advantage. That was what I was trying to say earlier to them. They had to sort of commit to that, because they've not given themselves enough laps to catch up and overtake. But still 3 laps of racing to go. Anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does.
We've got Jerry Van Bussel trying to overtake Marcados behind, and he does that with ease, as he's got the better tyres as well. So Jerry up into P6 will jump up into the battle for the lead, and Kian Well, if I was Max, I would have took advantage there, but maybe he would want DRS in a penultimate or final lap, maybe playing DRS chicken. He's playing very, very tactically as well. And the last race win he has had was in round number 6 last season, season 33 at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So it's been quite a while since he's taken a win, but he's still got a point to prove. Last week, Jerry won at the first social race for Lobby 2. Who's going to win the second one? I think we will still have one more to go before season 34 starts. And if tradition dictates, it may be the same track as what PCF1 are going to, which will be the Circuit of the Americas, but I might be wrong. And if Connor's watching in the chat, and thinks I am wrong, he could tell me otherwise, but I'm almost certain it's Circuit of the Americas, the next social races, for PC at least. As we're about to start the penultimate lap. Kian leads, Matt second, Volakongan doing a stellar job in third. And with Jerry running out of ERS now, I think the fight is going to be between Brad Stefano, Volakongan, Matt and Kian for the race victory. And we've got the two Parnell drivers trying to fight for this race win here. And I think Max knows that he can't go for it this lap because he knows Kian is going to get some DRS. So... And the track is getting a little bit darker as well. Cooler track temperatures as Marlon in the background trying to go down the inside of Ryder Down. I think Damien goes on down the inside as well. Damien loving this track, and Ryder Down, I think his mediums are starting to give up the ghost, unfortunately. He's right on the back as well. Dirty air, well, I don't think he's got dirty air by the way he's driving this car as well. But again, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I think Matt's going to wait to the final lap. He's still got 100% battery. He's still got 100% battery. Keen, I think, got hardly any. I think it's Max's to lose.
Yeah, it is Max's to lose. This all depends on how hard Keen fights, and Max just needs to get a steady final sector in here and then just absolute blitz that battery for the final lap. Use a good chunk of it getting past. Try to get past before the braking at turn number 1 and then use it on the run down towards turn number 4 to just create that healthy gap, and then there's no realistic overtaking opportunities for Keane then. But Keane has still ran a phenomenal race to lead for the most part, although Max has just been saving behind, and it seems to be too little too late for Jerry. He's completely fallen off now. There may have been some damage in that incident with Marcus Brothers, has kept steady behind. He's going to be attacking Stefano. Here we go then, final lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Marlon has been in the final corner, and look at Volakongan sending it from absolute nowhere, heading towards turn number 1. What a move from Volakongan. He leads the Bahrain Grand Prix. We thought it was going to be Kian versus Max, but Volakongan was like, hang on, don't rule me out of the equation. Volakongan could win this one. Kian tried to send it up the inside. Max tried to get him as well. It could be free abreast. And oh no! They both made contact. Volakongan still leads this one, but I think both of them had something to say on that one. I did say it was Max's to lose, and unfortunately he's losing out on this one. Kian has got to take advantage of this. Stefano right on this too. Now he tried to go down the inside towards turn 10, the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. Brothers and Jerry will be back in this as well. They said they wanted something to go back in at this race. And yes, James, you have cursed quite a lot of people tonight. Heading towards turn 11. Volakonga just about holds on for now. All of them are definitely taking a lot of risk as Stefano tries to go up the inside, heading towards turn 12 and 13. Be careful, guys. Don't crash into each other. This could be absolutely worse if this happens. And I did say this was going to be a battle for the lead. I didn't think it was going to be 4 cars. But about the lead, Kian trying to get past up the inside once more into towards the final corner as Kian and Volakongan sending it from absolute nowhere. Who's going to win? It's going to be a photo finish. It's Kian!
It's a photo finish! 0.001! Incredible! But what was Max doing on that final lap? He didn't burn his ERS at all!
That's what ruined his race, and I think he got pushed, but I don't know. But Kian, well deserved. Volakongan with that send as well. That was
all elbows out on that final lap. It's not every day you get 3 cars separated by less than a tenth of a second after 29 laps of a ferociously difficult circuit. Keane takes the win in the social race, but that was a mad one.
I think we're going to be in for an absolute brilliant season in season 33 if we get races like that. And even Stefano was quite close as well with 82 thousandths. I mean, I have to say, I enjoyed Spain last week. I've enjoyed Bahrain this week. It was a very clean race on the whole, but as it got to the end, it got absolutely insane. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. Can season 34 come now? Actually, it could not come now because I still got to decide commentators, and I'm still stressing out about it because I don't know who's going to be placed where. But anyway, Keane wins. Where was that pace last season? Because Keane got so close in Spain in round number 1, but has never. He was always the bridesmaid and never the bride in the likes of Bahrain. He got second place in Bahrain, so Bahrain's always a strong track, and second in Baku. Apart from that, didn't score as many points, but this time he wins and is showing like he could be a strong contender. And to be honest, his signing from Parnell was absolutely huge, and I think the guys from Parnell did a great job there, developing him quite well now. And yeah, with Max not using the full ERS, that was definitely his fault there. But look at your order. Keane wins from P1 on the grid, and if you think he got done a lights to flag victory, that's definitely not the case. That was definitely full guns a blazing throughout the entire thing. Volakongan from 11th to 2nd. He likes coming down from lower down the grid, becoming second, and that was because of his early undercut, which helped him. Stefano from 9th to 3rd. Jerry stays in 4th place. Devon from 16th to 5th. He avoided all that carnage, and that helped him. Marcados finished well. So did Raya. Tails, Marcus, Ryan your top 10. And then we've got Bradders and Max who are classified but a lap down, but they did DNF in game. But your DNFers are Mal, Marlon, Mubarak, Jensen, Rick, Yusban and Tom. A lot of people retired on that final lap. And Evan, who was your driver of the day? Because there was quite a lot of things that happened in that race.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Keane saying in the Discord that him and Max were caught lacking. So Max was obviously just going to give Keane the win and just let him. And then the Norwegian rocket that he became on the final lap, Volakongan, just soars into the race lead. That was a real interesting one. But in terms of a driver of the day, I'm going to have to go for something different. And I think it's only fair to give it to Devon. From 20th to 5th, he made some great moves on the opening couple of laps. He just worked his way through, ran his own race, ran his own strategy, and benefited of the chaos at the very end of this Grand Prix. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Devon, driver of the day from this one. P20 to P5. Can't really say no to that.
Yeah, I think we didn't talk much about Devon, didn't we, during this race? I think he
didn't have time.
No, he just kept it clean. He just kept it clean, and then when all hell broke loose on the final lap, then he was like boom, 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 and boom, and he finished 5th, and that was quite incredible. But I have to say, Keane really controlled those one on the final lap. He knew what he had to do. He just missed out. Well, he did have a good start, to be fair, but sometimes having the best of starts may not be ideal. But it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And if that's a sign of what things to come in PSGL, well, we're going to be in for a crazy season. I do believe we will have one final race next week, which will hopefully be the Circle of the Americas. We'll keep you updated. But just another quick plug about sign-ups for drivers. If you are interested, check the link in the description for Steam and PlayStation sign-ups. And Evan, I'm going to throw it to you. Why do you think people should sign up to PSGL?
Because then you can win a championship like I did.
Oh yeah, you did. What season was that?
I can't remember at this point. It was a few ago. No, seriously. Why wouldn't you want to sign up for a race like that? You've seen the chaos, you've seen the great racing, and you can prove yourself as one of the best league racers on a Formula 1 game here at PSGL. It's the place to be. It's the place to race. And yeah, why don't you do your sign up tonight? It's 9:20 here in Ireland and in Britain. Go do your evaluation race and make sure you sign up for PSGL, because really it's a great place to be, and we'll have plenty of streams covering your races. You can watch it back, and look, you could have the privilege of winning a few races and get a good buzz out of that. And even it's just good fun. There's good people in the community. You can race with your friends, and yeah, just have a good time. So make sure you do get your sign-ups in.
Yeah, make sure you do. Sign-ups will pretty much close quicker than when sign-ups open. So if you are interested, sign up now. And, well, it's not really first come, first served, really. So if you have good pace, you will be placed in a tier as well. And everyone will have to do evaluation races, whether you signed up or not. But we're going to leave it there because I need to be up early tomorrow, because I've got to be up quite early to go out for a conference. But thank you guys so much for watching, and for the final time, please check out our sponsor.
One last thing, Jess. Yeah, sorry. Check out the sponsor. You can see we're sitting in the chairs.
I was about to say that. Give me a shot.
Sorry,
Carry on. You were doing it anyway, so go for it.
I don't be sacked, you see. Make sure to check out GT Omega. You can see we're sitting in the chairs. Genuinely, like, I'm not even joking. It's really like, watch this. It can recline and all. It's brilliant. Why wouldn't you want to just sit back and enjoy some league racing? So make sure you check out GT Omega.
Oh my god, my chair was just like, whoa, that was crazy. But
yeah, that wasn't a good idea. I almost felt.
I was about to plug the sponsor, but yeah.
My bad.
You did it for me, which was great. But you can use the code PSGL at checkout, and you can get 5% off as well, and get one of these lovely chairs. But we'll leave you with our title sponsor to end off there. But make sure you join in on Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time with George Morgan. George Morgan is commentating on Wednesday. I'm thinking about another league. George Morgan and Jack Canal will be joining you in the commentary box on Wednesday for PCF1 around America. That's going to be fun. Can Lucas Blakely make it too? We'll find out very soon. But for PS, we'll see you next week, maybe. We don't know. But have a good evening. Take care. We'll leave you with our sponsors, GT Omega. Goodbye.
He's got the inside, all here is through, on the left-hand side, hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now, to the last couple of quarters now, his finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.